Let's go, boys and girls. Good evening, good afternoon. Merry Christmas the day after to you. Good to see you. Let's get it going. Live show coming to you. Missed our show yesterday, which I gotta be honest with you. I forgot we even had a show because it was a fantastic Christmas. But then I was laying in bed at night and go, damn, we missed Wednesday's show. We gotta get after it tomorrow. Didn't expect anything to happen like we're talking about, but hey, sure enough, here we are. We got some news to talk about, a couple things. With guys going to the NFL. We've got some guys possibly coming to Florida. We got a lot to go over here on this beautiful day. Bowl season's in full effect on Bowl Mania. Your boy's 15-1. The rest of y'all can suck it. welcome aboard here. And we got some great games lined up Saturday, which we'll be talking about as well. Good to see you. Smash like button, subscribe. Zach Alberverdi also may have uncovered a little bit about the news that he wiggled in front of us just the other day. I used the word wiggle because my son has been, every morning he wakes up and he goes, Daddy, wiggle, wiggle, and wiggles his piggies. So that has been in high in our vocabulary the last couple of days is wiggle, wiggle. It's been a good stuff, boys. It's been a great week. Been hanging out with the kiddo, having some fun. It's been a blast, but feels good to be back. I missed the mic. Chomping at the bits. I like a good rhythm. And we were in a rhythm, boys. We were cooking, having a good time, chit-chatting, talking it all up. And here we go, baby. Here we go. Call me old-fashioned. You missed the show? You sure probably did. We've been dialed in. We were cooking over the last couple of days. Boys, 300 strong, and we're not even over 60. We're just over 6 seconds in. Incredible. You guys are the best. I love y'all. I can't thank that enough. Also, on the break, we were featured in Sports Illustrated. All right, boys and girls. Like, like the Sports Illustrated with all the models on the front, like half naked. We were on the cover, half naked. Yeah, the boys were. Stephen Harris, Swolder, Cody, Cowboy Ty, all of us. Just assless chaps, front cover. Bam! Maybe not front cover, but we were damn near close enough to it, okay? Shout out to my man Dylan Olive writing up a little story about the big news when we had Zach Alberverdi on. That was a hell of a 48 hours when that dropped. It was probably one of the biggest moments I would say for High Top, just how viral it went. It was honestly, I would say, probably the biggest. Another big moment was when Stephen Harris called Jacoby Jackson Frank Gore. We got a lot of attention from that too. So listen, I love it. It's a blast, man. It's cool to be a part of. Sometimes it's a little surreal at times. Rookie Lynn says $20. Show in chat. I have one question for you. Are we effing back? In fact, back. Never left, rookie. Never left, baby. Good to see y'all, man. I love it. Let's get into it. So, first order of business, Shamar James has declared for the NFL draft. Now, there was a lot of kind of chirping going on what he would do, whether he'd go to the portal, whether he would go to the draft. What's left before I finish this Shamar James thought of who we need to, make sure is locked in is this Tyreek Sapp situation. That is still unknown, which I'm hoping we can reel that one in. Maybe with, not keeping Shamar, there's some more funds that have opened up, so that is something to kind of keep in mind. We'll see. But Shamar, this was what he posted on his Instagram. It's hard to see what he says. He was like, thank you, Gator Nation, proud to be a Gator. My favorite, my best moment being a Gator was when I went on High Top Sports. Look, his words, not ours. I thought that was pretty cool, but he didn't say that. I'm glad he's a Gator for life. Right? I know that he was heavily pursued last time and probably this time from the portal. So to not have to see him never not be a Gator would hurt my heart. Love this guy to death. One of my favorite Gators. It's kind of cool. I would say the last couple of years, it was Ventrell was kind of a staple for Florida. Now Shamar will be that guy going into the NFL. And look, kind of couple ways of looking at this thing. I think the linebacker room is in great hands. I would have loved to keep him. I think the experience that he would have brought to that room would have been insurmountable. I would be crazy to think that maybe by halfway through the year, he's hustling to keep a starting job with the likes of Pup Power, Miles Graham, Aaron Childs, Jaden Robinson, who has been an absolute treat to watch, and Ty Jackson's the number one linebacker I come out of this class. I don't care who tells you what. That kid's going to be an absolute beast. And I remember I go back to the conversation I had with Keith Nabier because Ty Jackson committed to USC. And he loved Florida, loved the Gator Made program, loved everything about it. But committed to USC because of the early weeks of the defense. Comes back, watches these guys play, and he goes, I love the use of the youth movement, right? All these guys playing and just seeing how much they're utilizing those guys. So Ty Jackson doesn't come here if he's not going to if he doesn't think he's going to sniff the field. That young man's going to sniff the field next year in all the right ways. And look, it was Pup Howard's defense until he went down over the last couple of weeks. So let's just call it what it was. Shamar was a great staple, love him to death, but Pup really took it by storm and ran away with it. And again, Miles really stepped up, I think, over the last couple of games. And Aaron is a free. And again, I keep forgetting about Jaden Robinson because Jaden Robinson wasn't, I would say, as a splash. Like again, Miles Graham was somebody that we love. Aaron Childs was somebody that kind of really surged onto the scene. The number one player out of Maryland, out of high school. Him and Miles really, I think, got a big name during the Under Armour game. I think is what they played in. So those guys always the big name. Shamar's always the one. Pup comes in. He kind of hits the ground running. So we always overlook Jaden Robinson, which is not on purpose. It's just human nature. But he has been, honestly, he was a staple this year. Number 29 runner on the football field. He did a lot of great things too. So I'm loving that as well. Boys, 600 strong. I mean, come on. Smash the like button. Let's get after it. I'm fired up today. Feels good to be back. 2 days off. I love it, but I miss it. Like this isn't working to me. So that, I love being here. I love being here. We'll talk about the wide receiver here in just a minute, but yeah, nothing but love for Shamar James. I'm hoping he's got some high quality draft stock. It'll be interesting to see. I can't wait to talk to Cody. Obviously, we'll have our huge draft show that we always do in April, which will be a blast to watch him get drafted. Hopefully, it's day 2 or 3 because we do 2 and 3. So we'll see how that all plays out. Also, too, again, portal stuff we're going to get into, but it's starting to heat up again, like I said it would. I mean, a lot of guys are coming in from Clemson, Tennessee, which we'll get into when we talk about the Jonte Cook information. But, yeah, Aaron Childs looked good in the bowl game, too. Robinson and Graham will start. I would say Pup, but don't know how healthy he will be. Yeah, we have an update on health as well. So we're going to talk about some guys that went down to surgeries they had and expectation of when they'll be back. We'll shout out the guys that posted that. But, yeah, Jaden Robinson 100% will be. I would be completely content knowing that he is going to be the starter. Aaron Childs, we saw him play a little bit of that edge position. So it'll be interesting to see because, again, Pyburn's complaint was having to drop back in coverage. So maybe they'll use Jaden to play a little bit of that jack/outside linebacker position where he plays edge but can drop back because that is his natural ability, is to drop back. Micah Parsons is somebody who was a linebacker that transitioned into what he is today, obviously just an elite edge rusher. So that's not uncommon for those guys to do that. And honestly, I think it'll make him more versatile. But what's great about that with Aaron Childs, if that were to happen, I'm just making, now they could have just been doing that because they lack depth. But what I love about that is that he covered first. He was a cover guy first, right? Being a linebacker, that is kind of your natural role. And then you transition to more of that edge and explosive player. Maybe you fall in love with that moving forward. But I think we were drafting or recruiting edge players hoping they would drop back. And they're like, this isn't what I came here for. Again, that's my outside looking in. So the Chip Kelly noise, boys, our boy Heisman said we got to chill out with that nonsense, who we follow very heavily. So let's kind of chill. I don't think, from what I saw Zach wrote, we may have overshot with the OC news. I thought it was going to be OC news just because he said it's going to be the loudest scream ever. I don't think I screamed for a DC, but maybe it's a name that I'm not even thinking that could get me fired up. But when he says that, I'm like, it's got to be an OC. And if it's got to be a sexy one, if it's going to get me fired up, that's what Zach said, right? So other news that broke that we've kind of been monitoring this was on Christmas Eve that this news came out. And again, I was full-blown dad mode, all right? Building out a little village, getting ready for little man, doing all those kind of fun things. Christmas Eve is always a day where the family and I get together and hang out. So we were chilling. But Jonte Cook, so again, it feels like Jonte wants to be a Gator like nobody's business. And it almost feels like Florida's kind of waiting to see. You know what I mean? Like, hey, is there another fish out there from another school, right, that could be hitting the portal? And if that guy goes, we're going all in on that guy. I don't know. That's just how it feels. Because the way that Cook's been operating on the Bird X, he seems very intrigued with Florida. Kind of already talking smack as if he's a Gator. But no graphic to me in 48 hours seems a little... Look, Christmas Eve, this drops, fine. Christmas Day, let's let it be, no big deal. Today, I thought it would drop. I thought it would drop if it was going to happen. Right? So this will be something we continue to monitor. Again, Ulan Cook, I mean, this wide receiver room as is excites me. Ulan Cook, I would expect another guy to hit the portal. So maybe that's what they're playing. Portal closes in 48 hours. Right? Now, what that means is that Cook can still commit to a school after it closes. You just technically can't enter into the portal once past the 28th. So that is, you know what is good about 28 and 48 hours is that we can't lose, technically we can't lose anybody else until April, which is that second portal, but we'll at least go into spring ball knowing in 2 days that we'll be going into spring ball with said staff. Now, someone like a Tyreek Sapp, he could still go into the NFL, right? But I at least know he's not going elsewhere, which makes me feel a little bit better. Okay? As for the portal, top edge, I don't know, top guy, but Clemson, a Clemson edge rusher went into the portal today. So, again, as for people that are, this thing is still bumping, like I said, of what's moving around. I wanted to see the latest entries into the portal as of today. They were moving all around. So, yeah, there's as of just today that have entered, 1, 2, 3, 4, those guys committed, 5, 6. 6 more today. A couple from Tennessee, like I said, a few more from Arizona. Everyone's bopping off. Something happening here? Something breaking here? Okay, you never know. Earlier I was working on something, the phone kept vibrating. I was like, that feels like an important vibrate, and it was. It was Shamar going to the NFL. So when I get a couple vibrates in a row, I'm like, all right, something's happening here. Anyways, like we've been talking about this entire time, we've been monitoring it. Again, we had that confirmation from Zach Alberverdi that once these playoff teams, they're out of the playoffs, they've got 5 days. So although it closes in 40 hours, a good thing on that is we know no more people can leave Florida, which makes me feel good. So I kind of didn't finish my thought, but if we were to have Cook sign the 29th, technically we can't lose any more people, right? So that's positive. That's a promising thing that nobody can leave. And now somebody say that's kind of messed up that if a wide receiver thinks, hey, they're going to be the guy, now when Cook comes in, they just now went down a notch. But that is business. That is business. Shamar has day one stock. Do you think you go first round? Look, these guys, who knows that they go to a pro day and can knock somebody's socks off and just elevate their draft. Ventrell went, what was it? Did he go in the 4th round or 3rd round? And he's been a treat, man. I love it. Cody got me his jersey, and he was great this year. He was absolutely fantastic. Round 4. Do we think Shamar is higher? Now, again, Ventrell coming off a massive injury into this year, that probably impacted it. So I would assume they're around the same. I think Ventrell had a more of an electric collegiate career than Shamar did. Now, he didn't get a pro day, I believe, because he was injured. So Shamar could go to a pro day, turn some heads. They're combine, and pro day. I think they can do both. So we'll keep in mind. We'll obviously keep it on. Fourth to the Jags. Oh, that was for Ventrell 4th. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was 3 or 4. So I love that. I love when guys go to obviously a team close to home. So, you guys are talking about the DC to start over again. Yeah, I saw some conversations on that with obviously Ron Roberts being the DC. But I'm going to go over Zach's article because it is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Boys and girls, almost 800 strong. Not if Stephen Harris was here, he would say, hey, I want half the likes. I'm not that greedy. I just need I love a few. So the news is, I see people putting names in there for the DC. If Muschamp came and was a defensive coordinator, I would pop a lid. I loved when Muschamp was the coach here. I love Muschamp. Those eyes, bro, just the insanity that guy possessed. Like, there's some screws loose for sure, bro. I would like, if I saw that guy driving on the road and I cut him off, I would pull over immediately and apologize, because I wouldn't want to just pop. I would not want to be on the wrong side of that dude. That guy. So many whiteboards. R.I.P. Okay, from that guy. But when he was the head coach, I was like, man, if we could just keep this guy and move him over to DC and go get a head coach, what we could do, the things we could do. And obviously that never panned out. I don't see him leaving Georgia, but I didn't even think of that. That would fire me. I love Muschamp. I've always loved Muschamp. I don't see him leaving though. Nick Saban's coming back, $8 million a year. That would be insanity too. That would be nuts. That would be, I can't even, that's just crazy talk. I love that we're just rambling here, but Real quick before we move on, $2 from John Lee. Still have 118 on the roster. A lot to leave. Was wondering where we were on that. Thank you, John Lee. Was wondering where we were on that. Okay. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So, look, before we get into the injuries, again, on Aaron Gates, a few others, Jaden Ball, these guys all had surgery, which we were kind of waiting to see with the Aaron Gates situation. I didn't know Ball was injured, so we'll read over that in just a minute. But, of course, y'all know the drill, boys. It's day after Christmas. Now, you know if you didn't get your Tecovas underneath the Christmas tree, you can look over the wife and say, hey, the deal's still good. Okay, baby. You may have dropped the ball yesterday, but no need for me to go into the new year not looking sexy. Okay? There's no need for it. So check out Tecovas, handcrafted, genuine leather. Y'all know the drill. All right? Cowboy hats, ropers, jeans, corduroy jeans. I haven't found the urge to put those on yet. I think I can make it happen. Just haven't found the confidence to get it done yet. But I might do it. I might pull the trigger. I don't know. Sleeping on it. Tell me what you think about it. Okay? Little corduroys. Feel me? Okay? Handcrafted, genuine leather. Check out a store if you got one near you. Go check it out. It's a fantastic experience. Love these boots. Some of the best dress boots. They got fantastic work boots. I mean, I'm telling you, boys and girls, if you're interested in a nice pair of boots or if you have a nice pair and looking to get more, this is the place to go. When you go to tecovas.com/high-top, check out emails and text, you get 10% back. Okay? Sign up for emails and text though. Tecovas.com, tecovas.com/high-top. Take advantage of the deal, boys and girls, while it still lasts. It's our last week for this year, I believe. Yeah, for this year. Hopefully, we'll have them later on next year, and we'll find some ways to pair up with some sundresses. We'll do a little. I'll dress them. I'll dress the ladies, okay, that are here. We'll dial it in again. Tecovas, point your toes west, boys. So, shout out Sideline Florida Gators page on X. This is what they posted. So, Devin Moore will undergo a procedure to repair his labrum and fear of his right shoulder. He's someone else who hasn't announced whether he'll be back. I think with this injury, there's no way he goes pro. Then my man is constantly on the injury report. So, I love him. When the guy's on the field, absolutely electric. We got to figure out how to keep him healthy. Cornerback John Johnson will have the same surgery as Devin. This is to me, I hope somebody can ask some questions towards Billy because Jason Marshall has some shoulder. We had a lot of injuries in that secondary. Now, is it tackling? Is it the technique? Why are we having these injuries with shoulders? I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be one. Lawyer at times, okay? Not a doctor. That's where I draw the line. So we'll see. But I would like to say, like, hey, what do we think is causing all these things? Another one, Sharif Jackson. Well, that's his left foot. That's a little bit different. And same thing with Aaron Gates. But these guys in that secondary dealt with a lot of injuries. It was just joint stuff. Knees, shoulders, head, knees, and toes. You know what I'm saying? So love if maybe we can ask about that. Running back Jaden Ball will undergo a scope procedure in his right knee to clean up what was described as minor cartilage damage, including to his meniscus. I mean, this is just like, honestly, I feel like this is like Tommy John searching for baseball players now with running backs. This is what Trey had, I believe, too. And Montreal had it. Like, everyone gets it. So, honestly, probably played on it all year. And they're like, yeah, you'll be fine. We'll just clean it up. I could probably use a little bit of one of these little underscope things. My left knee's been tickling me for quite some time. There is a doctor in here. Holler at me. I need to figure this thing out. Taking steroids and all kinds of crap to get figured out. But it's still, I'm getting old too. Could just be that. But yeah, so this is, to me, a no bueno one. The two up top kind of, or a little more, I would say, a long-term fix. Sharif Denson will undergo a procedure to repair a fracture to his left foot, which will require a screw to repair. Love that, because that shit's going to be good when he gets back, but who knows how long that's going to take. Fractured my foot and when I played in high school. Didn't take too long, but I didn't need a screw either. So probably 6 to 8 weeks, I'd imagine. And Aaron Gates, we obviously know him. He tore his ACL. I would imagine he's probably going to be the one that takes the longest to come back. We know about Jack Pyburn. He tore his ACL, but I think he tore it, probably the same game. The second to last game when he tore it. Maybe the third to last game. So right around the same time. And obviously we saw what Pyburn was able to come back and do. So should be good. But it all comes down to the person and how hard they work and how hard they grind on whether or not he'll be back and in full swing. So, I'm sure we'll get answers to that. I expect Ball for the spring game. Maybe Sharif for the spring game. Aaron Gates, no bueno. But I think we'll have a good idea because I think Pyburn for the spring game was wearing the sleeve and at times kind of, I don't think he ever suited up, but I know that he looked really good at the spring game. And I said, we'll have a good idea for him. So we'll see. We'll see about that. But yeah, a lot of injuries. Asa Turner is still a guy we have not heard about. I have no clue what's going on with that guy. I'm pretty sure he's able to come back with a medical situation. That would be, I think, a great addition. We never really saw what he could do. So I wouldn't hate him if he's staying. So I just got in here. What linebacker we lose to the NFL? Shamar? Yeah, Q. So I know you're not going to be upset. You were expecting Shamar to go to the NFL anyway, so all good there. But look, boys, 800 strong, almost 300 likes. I mean, I'd be chilling with 300 likes if y'all get us there. That'd be fantastic. Now, let's get into the juice. Old Zach EA, Albert here, dropped us, came in, just spanked us. You know what I mean? I messaged him. I said, man, thanks for coming on. I was like, hey, he's like, I think we broke the internet. I was like, that's an understatement. I mean, that thing flew like wildfire. And again, it was like people were like, it's a big tease, and it was. But we were blessed enough to have him on right after the phone call, and so a little bit of tease here and there. Now he has a whole article, kind of just a little bit of a inside beat the war room stuff. I don't want to blow his whole article up, but I think it's fair to talk about this because he came on the show, and I assume these two things are very similar. Again, check out On 3. I know you guys have your beef with On 3, but again, our beat writers, those Keith, Zach, Corey, those guys do a fantastic job. I appreciate them coming on the show and chit-chatting with us, and I know you guys do too. So go give them some love if you can. Just retweet an article. Show some love. Look, don't take out your beef with On 3 on those guys. Those guys got families' feet too and love Florida just like we love Florida and do a damn good job reporting on it. Again, Zach breaking that Dallas Wilson, the way that he carried himself and navigated through that. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. And I don't want to hear no shit, oh, you guys are blowing On 3. No, man. I wouldn't say that I'm anywhere close to these guys, but I live in the world at least close enough. And it can be exhausting and a grind at times. I love it, and I don't have to report to anybody. But when you got a boss and you got things to do, it can be a little stressful at times. So I get it. It's those guys don't get appreciation for the grinds that they do. They put in a lot of work. I talk to Keith behind the scenes. Every time I call that guy's in the office, writing away, just typing away. All right. So here's the deal. Here's what he wrote. Talking about Austin Armstrong. Armstrong was the highest paid assistant coach, earning $1.2 million. Was Florida's highest paid, not the highest. I looked up the highest defensive coordinators. He didn't crack the top 10, which he shouldn't have, right? He didn't really have much of a resume. His departure opens up an attractive position and salary at UF. So keep this in mind. Why this is interesting, because again, people think, oh, Ron Roberts is the DC. He was calling the plays, but he's technically not the DC. He's the assistant coach or co-defensive coordinator and then assistant coach. So he doesn't hold the title, nor does he hold the salary for it. See, several viable candidates have inquired, meaning they've go, yo, Billy, I'm liking what y'all got. The talent there, and on the offensive side of the ball, I can work with you, big dog. I can spit on and turn it around, okay? Let's get after it. You've been working with the Young Bucks. I'm ready to take this bad boy over. Has expressed heavy interest in joining Napier staff, according to multiple sources. Learned one potential candidate that would be a splash hire for Florida if it happens. That leads me to believe that was the information that he came onto the show with. So I know a lot of us are thinking it was OC, myself included, but a splash DC. I saw some names flying around, the Charlie Strong thing. That's been a thing that's kind of been circulating because obviously there's photos of him at Florida. I don't believe that would be the splat. I could be wrong, but I remember him vividly when he came on here. He goes, this name nobody could even think of right now. That doesn't scream Charlie Strong vibes to me. Go watch the film. Go watch the tape. Comes on, he goes, this name isn't being talked about. And that's why I was like, it could be anybody. Like, what would be a big DC splash hire right now? Schumann would be massive from Georgia. Right? A guy that's kind of at the top of his game. Again, I thought that was 100% going to be an OC. 100%. You know what's crazy? I had people texting me that should not be texting me, asking me, like, hey, what is this about? I'm like, I don't know. I do not know. But, very interesting stuff there with that information. Bobo is a Georgia boy. Tom Brady. Okay, the names are just out of control. Oh, Paul coach. Rex Ryan. So Ron Roberts gone. Well, look, again, Ron is not the DC, right? He has a 2-year contract. He is the co-defensive coordinator / linebacker coach / assistant coach. I think we're getting the fact that he called the plays caught up with like, oh, he's the DC. And he played DC, but he's not the DC. So sounds like will he stay in some capacity? I mean, his contract would allow him to do so, but it doesn't appear that he's going to be the guy. Dooley's pissed. We need an OC. Look, I'm not saying that the OC's out of the question, right? I'm not saying we're done with that either, but, you know, I mean, if he was the highest paid assistant at 1.2, the next guy I would imagine if it's a splash higher, I was looking at the top 10 DCs before the show. I mean, those guys are getting paid 1.1, 2.1 million. I didn't even get to number 1 because top DC pay. Because when I saw that, I was like, well, he's not even cracking the top 10. And it's like we're highly underpaying our coaches. Oh, that's DC. I went DC. Top coordinator pay college coaches. Yeah, so it looks like Blake Baker from LSU gets $2.5 million. So could we be there? Could you imagine all these guys leave for Blake Baker? Not that I want. I mean, LSU's defense has been atrocious. Wink Martindale from Michigan. I would love that guy. Pete Golding from Ole Miss, 2.5. Adam Fuller, $2 million, 2.5, or 2.01. Excuse me. This is as of April, so it could have changed by now. So, you know, we're actually Austin's not too far down when I take a look at this list of where he was getting paid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14th. He was the 14th ranked highest DC. A lot of money to not be in the top. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. Why don't we just promote Ron Roberts? Look, I don't have all the ins and outs. Okay. There's so many rumors about the Ron Roberts thing, about just him as a person, like all these things. I don't want to get too, because it's a lot of he said she said stuff. So I don't know all of that. There's rumors he's going to retire. Like, again, I don't know. And also, again, he came over from Auburn to be like a savant. I think that's the right word. I don't know. I don't think that is. But more of us like a babysitter, right? I don't think he wants to take on the roles of all what a DC entails. I could be wrong, but I don't think. I mean, he took a role as, and I mean, he didn't get paid 1.2, right? He probably get paid like half or 700,000 to be what he was. He probably likes what he is, but I don't think if a new DC were to come in would allow for Ron to be that, and I don't think Ron wants to also do that either. I could be completely overstepping here, but I'm just putting pieces together. Right, of like looking at the whole grand scheme of things of like, okay, if you come over, you're going to be working under him. You know, the guy that you're helping coach / babysit is making more than you, and you may call the plays because he's struggling, but ultimately you're not the guy. You're not the final decision maker. And honestly, given how it all folded out and what we know now with Austin leaving, I wonder how much Billy had to kind of step in. And also, we kind of heard that, hey, week 3 after the bye, Billy kind of went over to the defense like, well, hey, what's going on? And there probably was a confusion of like who was the leader. I don't know, but I'm just asking. Brian Hartline would be nuts. Brian Hartline for OC would be absolutely insane. So a lot of people are yelling Chip Kelly. Again, that was kind of flying on the timeline. No idea where these names are coming from either. No, people just kind of start get wary with it and try to figure out what it is. So we'll see. Charlie Strong on the staff as an analyst would be huge. I think that would be a huge pickup if that were to happen. Again, all these, I think this is going to be big time movement come, next week, honestly. January, the contracts start over, and I think that's when the stuff's going to start flying out. It's probably going to get dirty before it gets clean, if I had to guess. But if we're targeting coaches and DCs that are currently playing, could be longer. So the 12-team playoff really extends everything. It extends coaching. It extends movement. Coaching changes. It extends the portal because if a head coach gets fired, that team gets an extra 30 days. Every team that loses gets 5 days after that. Zach came on. There is no really off season, right? Because this is going to take over January without a shadow of a doubt. Then you head into February, which is kind of that early onset recruiting where you kind of have that first set of visits, right? I remember that's when I think we got Jalen Wiggins, kind of February into March. Then, of course, practice starts into March. And then you're right back into spring ball, right? And then, of course, the summer is its own thing. But we kind of saw it this year, right? The full recruiting season, I would argue, for 2025 was from late January to about June. And when I say recruiting, like guys visiting, coming in on a campus, having an understanding. By the time the season started, like guys came to games, but I'm talking official visits, like having people on for the weekend. That was done really by July 1st. The barbecue and Friday Night Lights was nowhere near what it used to be. So again, with that being said, there really isn't going to be an off season, and even more so with the playoffs being the way that they are, it's extending everything a little bit further on. Before we'd always have 4 teams, we would lose. So think about it. We're going to lose 4 teams on next week. When in the past we'd only lose 2, and then there's 2 teams left. But we're losing 4 teams, and then there's 4 teams still left. Like we just extended this thing an entire 3 weeks. So Ed Orgeron would be big. Go Tigers. That would be nuts. So yeah, look, I love it. I enjoy making content. There is some days where I wish I could kind of slow down a little bit, but I'm a rhythm guy. And if I get into a rhythm of chilling and not making content, I projects start happening in my head, and it's very easy for me to turn it off. So you keep me flowing, Billy. I'm flowing here, big guy. I can spit on the mic all day, any day of the week. Okay? Boys and girls, almost 900 strong in here. Just was and kind of fell off. We're not at 300 likes. Stephen Harris is blowing the lid right now, if I had to guess. I expect some more news this weekend after everyone finishes up spending time with the fam. Agreed. I think I'd imagine Billy and Co probably took off today and probably tomorrow, yesterday, today, and maybe kind of ramp back up tomorrow. Got games on Saturday, and then it's probably, so come Sunday, it's all right. We got to rock. We got to get back after it. And again, you're like, oh, the portal closed on the 28th. I think they've done what they needed to do for this portal. And again, people can still commit. They just can't go into the portal. The next target, the next wave is now going to be these playoff teams. So that's not going to be until next week anyways. And if Cook is a take, we can keep him in the back pocket until need be. So it's going to be fun. We're going to keep it, I'm excited to keep our eyes and ears peeled on it and talk about it. But let's do this real quick, because this show, of course, is brought to you by BetUS. Let's talk about the top 3 games of the week they have labeled. Right now, we've got tomorrow night is Georgia Tech versus Vanderbilt. You see the spread on that one. Would love for Vandy to get one here. Pitt just went down to Toledo. Again, I'm 15-1 in bowl mania this year right now. I've been on an absolute tear. I think there's 6 overtime games. That means I'm just that good. Would love for ACC to lose another one. Would love for Iowa State here to take down Miami. Iowa State is a kind of a sneaky good team, a team that had the playoff Big 12 in their eyesights. All 3 of these teams right now, actually, Iowa State, BYU, and then Colorado, all 3 were at one point controlled their own destiny and gave it all away. But 3 really solid teams here. Iowa State's going to throw some things at Miami. I'm concerned that Miami's offense is going to be able to overtake Iowa State. I also love all 3 of these games because we're going to see that early round draft stock with Cam Ward, Shador, Travis Hunter, Shiloh. I don't think he'll be a first rounder, but possibly an early or late second rounder for Shiloh there. But a lot of NFL talent that we'll get to witness over. We'll get to see our guy Diego, who gets another year as well. So a lot of big-time games. And, of course, when you go to BetUS.com, use the code YouTube150. You get back 150% on your first deposit, then $125 on your next 2, up to $2,000. So these games will be fun. I think Saturday should be a great time. I know Colorado is playing everybody. From my understanding, there's nobody big sitting out. All the big-time names are playing. And it's a good Big 12 matchup at one point, what could have been a Big 12 championship. So it's kind of the consolation Big 12 championship, which I like to see. Again, we'll get to see Miami. This, to me, a foresight into the future a little bit. You lost a few guys. You missed on 2 quarterbacks you're going after. So it'll be interesting to see, you still have Cam, but he's going to be gone. So we'll follow that. And of course, I hope Vandy's able to take down Georgia Tech. I think that'll be a dogfight as well. Both teams really had, I would say, great years for their programs. Georgia Tech capitalized on it with some of the recruiting. Vandy's recruited, well, for Vandy standards. They've kind of got a few pops in the portal as well. So it's interesting watching all this thing all unfold. So Hartline is an OSU alum and isn't leaving. He'll probably be the next OSU head coach. Yeah, Ryan Day's seat's harder than I think people want to admit. It's a good point, LGM. Hartline as an OC is still unknown. If they wanted him to be an offensive coordinator, why hire Kelly? That is a good point. There's a good point. A lot of good points, boys. We're hiring the Steinsealer from Michigan, Connor Stallions. I'm down with that too, baby. He took the boys to a national championship, so I wouldn't be upset about that. How's Kansas State and Rutgers doing? I need that one to continue on my success here. Damn, KSU's losing. I picked them to win against the Rutgers. I should have known better. I talk smack, and here we go. Avery Johnson having a blunder of a day. I hope he gets the same kind of energy as DJ got. That kid played an entire year. That was his entire offense, and he had his ups and downs as well too. So now, boys, we have another week or so to ponder a possible DC move, names. We fired up on Monday with Zach on what the news could be. I had some fun with it, teasing y'all a little bit, posting all random nonsense to what it could be. I love the fact people were messaging me like, "Hey, what was it? Did he tell you after the fact?" Like, no. Listen, boys, I keep what you see is what you get. Okay? I don't like having names in my back pocket. The reason being is like we don't break news here. Unless Zach comes on and decides to drop a little bit of a bombshell. We like to be excited and react just like the rest of y'all do. That's what we do. Some would say we just regurgitate information. We don't do shit around here, and they're probably right. Probably right. Did y'all see Brandon's podcast that we needed to move on from Billy Gonzalez and said he's an average recruiter? We really have a deep... Brandon Olsen said this? No. I think I just saw the 247. They released their top 10 recruiters, and Billy was number 7. The guys landed technically... under his, watch, I would say Dallas and Percy. Now, here's an argument you can make. Because I'm trying to see if what Brandon's looking at. Because look, if you go look at the last 2 years, who has Florida's best wide receivers been? From the portal. Not a recruit. And this year too, again, I was kind of wondering, we've recruited some guys over the last couple of years, the Mazzels, Abrams, these guys, and we're having to go aggressively in the portal again. And so is that because we haven't recruited well? Right? Now, Dallas Wilson move, how much does that go to Billy? How much does that go to Napier? How much does that go to NIL? There's more factors to it. And again, Gonzalez will get the credit because it's under that wide receiver room. I would say his development and coaching has been good because of the guys that we have brought into the portal have had major success. Maybe he doesn't really like the whole recruiting aspect of it. I don't know. But I wouldn't say he's mid. I wouldn't say he's an issue at the moment. Again, Ricky Pearsall, first-round draft pick. You gotta give Billy credit on that one, Gonzalez. You really do. That to me is... Yeah, Bill, I know you're saying Billy Gonzalez. Not Napier. Oh, we'll talk about the Dave Waters tweet? I will. Aaron says, Sheldon, how do you look fire? Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Shout out to Cody. Cody got for me for Christmas, so... Yeah, again, Harrison, I think that's 100% right. It's because we don't have much production at wide receiver, and that I do agree with. It fell off, and we were all concerned. So I kind of get where Olsen is coming from. I see it. I see both sides. I honestly do. We kind of got lucky because you won't see the gaps because of the Dallas Wilson. Eugene Wilson's coming back. Vernell Brown, there is in those. Look, though, Vernell Brown, the Eugenes, those guys are big pickups. And then, of course, Wilson and Studervant will kind of fill in those gaps. And if we land Cook, another one that'll fill in that gap. But yeah, look, these were things that I was kind of trying to say without saying it, of like, we're all like looking at wide receiver room and like, well, shouldn't these guys be ready to go by now? The ones that we recruited a year and 2 years ago. So he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I don't know if we should move on from him, but I'm also not too keen on wide receiver coaches outside of Heartline of like who I would go after. I don't have a list of those guys. Yeah, I think he's kind of like what Sale is. I think Sale has done a great job of developing the guys they brought in, but hasn't really knocked our socks off with recruiting top tier talent. He's definitely worked on the development side of things of like growing these guys. And again, Andy Jean was another one I think we recruited, but didn't obviously he's moved on. So, yeah. And again, he's brought in Percy Harvin, Lewis Murphy, Riley Cooper, OBJ, Jarvis Landry. He has a phenomenal list too. Like, it's not like, again, I think he's maybe has just the new era of recruiting may not fall into his category. And maybe that's part I can't agree. I can't see that, but I think yes. And look, maybe with the portal, does he have to? Like, we haven't fallen short in the wide receiver room. I don't think that's been a lackluster, like, that hasn't been an area of concern the last 2 years because they've done the right things for it in the portal. And I think his development and coaching, again, DK and Badger we were more excited about, but DK, people weren't really kind of hanging their hat on that. Obviously, he had a phenomenal year and was one of our, standout guys. With some injuries to the wide receiver room, there was, a little bit of a fall off after those two guys, which you could now push towards him. But yeah, I think ultimately, I don't think that isn't to me a big concern. Look, I think we're starting to look around and say, okay, we know we're set on running back room. I know Jaluk's, his contract's coming up. Pay that man. You've got Will Harris, who I think we fell in love with this year. Really excited what he did with the room. Gerald Chapman at D-line, I think we love what he did at that room. Linebacker coaches, we got Robertson, right, who's kind of that edge position, because I'm pretty sure Ron Roberts was over the linebacker room. So linebackers played well. Wouldn't mind keeping him. My point is that all these assistant coaches and that are coaching groups we've kind of all like, okay, we're okay with them. They're doing their job. So Callaway's over the tight ends / somewhat playing calls. So I would say the O-line production, could it be better? And I still think if I'm looking at position groups, I would still kind of raise my question on O-line. I think if I had to rate them, running back number 1, and I would say O-line is probably last of production. It's a close one. I know some are going to go to special teams. I'm not going to look at that one. That one isn't really very sexy to me. Yeah, Chapman. Oh, he's interior. Yeah, because the edge. Yeah, he doesn't have the edge rushers, which is, I'm assuming that's Robertson's stuff. Yeah, D-line definitely improved. So, yeah, Rob Sale and Chris Couch. So Chris Couch is, again, part of special teams, but we have a new special teams guy. Chris Couch is no longer the leader. And again, I kind of didn't get into special teams, which is still important, but again, not the sexy ones. So, again, yeah, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, then yes, Billy Gonzalez is probably at the bottom half of the production. You can even argue tight ends haven't been the best in the sense of catching. Now, Hanson's been great at the blocking aspect of things, but I would say tight end production's been a little questionable. I'm looking at Callaway on that. I think that's been worse than now. I feel like we've recruited well. Like Amir Jackson, I think Boardingham has potential. Obviously, he's moved on. Hayden Hanson has been great. I think maybe it's been a little weak then. So maybe Callaway, in all honesty, is probably even less than those guys. Napier wastes wide receiver talent by playing a slow 6'7", 265 tight end out wide on four outside wide receiver sets. Just drives me crazy. What does Callaway do? There you go, Rob Sell. Yeah, he is the tight end coach, and then again also helps call and plays, but he's ultimately the tight end coach. I would say he's the nothing against Callaway, but if we're going off of production, now again we haven't really, you can't always blame him because play calling factors into that too. Tony Livingston kind of had a little bit of a breakout game, so maybe it was just player. We never really know what the exact answer is. I would say the blocking aspect of their job, they've been great. Wide receiver catching wise, we'll see. Boss Hog, no, we lost Shamar. Chris Smith says Will Stein will probably be the next OC or Chip Kelly. Will Stein is the OC for Oregon. If we somehow land Will Stein, that'll make me scream. And here's why I love Will. Here's what I love about the Will Stein possibility, Chris, is because I've brought up the point before is that this team has been heavily recruited to run the ball effectively. Jordan James is running back for Oregon. I think he's a favorite next year to win the Heisman. Them boys run the ball effectively. But they also have the ability to sling that ball out wide. They got the opportunity to launch that B. And here's, why would he leave Oregon? I don't know. I asked myself that too. But I remember on our Oregon channel talking with Derek, he had a little bit of frustration with some of the quarterback play. This was kind of early on in the season, so it was just off-season talk. Didn't really mean too much. If I'm looking at Oregon next year, Malachi Nelson, I think, is their quarterback coming in. Now, they could go after the portal. I'm not sold on Malachi. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. And if I'm Will and I'm looking around, wide receiver room at Florida looks pretty damn good. If they go get Cook or a possible another name from somewhere else, it's arguably the number one wide receiver team in the country. Just yell at me. I don't care. I got a cowboy hat on. You can't faze me right now. I'm fired up. It is. Get over yourself. On paper, going into the season, it's going to be arguably the top wide receiver room in the country. And you arguably have the top quarterback going into it that as well. And arguably you have a top 5 offense going into next year talent wise. Wide receiver, running back room, quarterback. Argue with the wall. And then Will Stein looking at this, it's like SEC, big time play. I'm gonna go coach DJ Lagway. That's what I want to go do. It's an appeal. Dante Moore. Sorry. Those two came out at the same time, and I always get them mixed up because they both went out west. And so I categorized them. Malachi went to UCLA, then went to Boise, right? Or was that Dante? Malachi went to USC. Dante went to UCLA, then to Oregon, I think is how it went. So I always mix those two up because, again, they both committed to USC and UCLA and then both moved like right afterwards. And they were both top-tier quarterbacks. So they literally like lived identical lives and went to different areas. So, look, I'm not saying he's leaving. I'm just saying this somebody put Will Stein and Chip Kelly. And so those are two names, again, like who I would be excited for. That I'm like, yo, that's huge. So, and again, I was asking myself of like, would he actually do that, right? When you start wearing it all down, possible. Now he goes and wins a natty, changes a lot of different things. Nelson's at USC, then moved to Boise. Yeah, okay. So then, I was right. I got to figure it out. Dante Moore then went to UCLA, then left. Yeah, Malachi's already at Boise. Yeah, like I said, I get it mixed up. Cole says offensive coordinator number 1, Lane Kiffin, then Brian Hartline, then Lincoln Riley, Brian Kelly, Urban Meyer. Come on, bro. That list is ridiculous. That list is ridiculous. Unbelievable. Yeah, no, okay. I got the Nelson stuff, but I messed up. I apologize. Look, this is all just hoopla. So I wouldn't put any. There's no weight to it. There's no weight to it at all. Those are just big names. Again, when I heard Zach say, "Hey, it would make you scream," like, all right, what are some names that would get me fired up? And I immediately thought OC. Like that was where my head was at. And so, top offensive coordinators in the country was where my head went. And I'm like, these are now. And again, I was like, well, why would they leave? Like, makes zero sense of why would so and so leave. And that's why I started weighing out the options. I would love if we sold Stein too, because it's just another one. Like the beat between Oregon is really kind of starting to spice up, which I love. It's fun. It's been great. Yeah, all speculation, 100%. Like that's where we're at. It's part of this show. Like, and even Zach said it may not happen. Like what the news that we heard may not happen. Like, there's a very possibility, and nothing really even big comes out of this. We're just in this weird area. There's a lot of talking season. That's what we do on the show. We talk. So, who did we lose to the NFL? We lost Mr. Shamar James, boys and girls. That's who we lost to the NFL. Well, guys, an hour in, almost 400 likes, 828 strong. I appreciate y'all for showing some love as always. Can we get someone to call in or something? We are just blubbering. Yeah, we're about to wrap it up. So it's perfect. Look, think about doing a show tomorrow with old Coach Steve, kind of maybe recapping what's going on, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll look, keep the bell turned on. If something breaks, we'll be here ready to rock and roll. That's what we do. We're back in full swing. The holidays have come to a close, so I don't like to get lethargic. Oh, the Dave Waters tweet. Yeah, Dave bodied this Miami guy. I don't have it pulled up, Scott. Maybe we'll talk about it another time. But yeah, Dave Waters. I love when Dave gets feisty because Dave keeps it kind of cool. I get absolutely buck nasty on the timeline, but Dave keeps it 100 and absolutely body a Miami guy, and it had me fired up. It had the crowd going nuts. So shout out to Dave Waters for getting spicy. I love it when Dave gets rowdy. Dave's like the cool guy in the room, and when Dave gets poppy, you're like, all right, everybody listen. If I yell, it's like, all right, another crackhead yelling again, boys. Y'all be good. I love y'all. Be good. Stay safe. Keep the bell turned on. Keep smashing the like button. We're on the way to 25,000. I mean, my Christmas wish list is that we get to 25,000 by the end of the year. I think we need like 600 subs. Let me see. If you care, if you're still here, I'll tell you what we need. But that would be one hell of a feat. We need 600 subs. 600 subs in a week. I've seen crazier things. 25,000. Let's roll into 2025 with 25,000 subs. I got goosebumps saying that. Let's get after it, baby. 600 subs to go. That's it. Go create 600 accounts, boys. Do something. I don't know. Figure it out. I love y'all. Peace and love, baby.